A previous NASA contractual worker cases to have proof that the Apollo 11 moon arrivals were faked when she worked at the office a couple of decades back. At the point when Cindy Holland landed a position at NASA, she was over the moon. Allegorically, obviously, not in the way she trusted the space travelers of the time were as they pootled around on the International Space Station. I was an understudy and janitor for the U.S. Air Force when I connected for the contractual worker position with NASA, she describes. It was the winter of 1996, I was a single parent to a 5-year-old kid and was endeavoring to get into a vocation. I was told by a few Air Force workers that NASA needed to contract ladies and dark individuals, so I sent them my resume. Inside days, Cindy had a meeting and, in the blink of an eye a short time later, was offered work. It was a passage-level IT support position, she says. I was excited and scared. Cindy adored her activity. I felt vital out of the blue. The activity was novel and fun. I dealt with the PC go-down framework, logged inconvenience calls, dealt with the plotter machine from the SR-71 flights, introduced programming on clients' machines and set up together PC stations. Cindy's office was ideal by the NASA Photograph Lab. That is the place the photographic history was kept, clarifies Cindy. It was untouchable to most NASA representatives unless escorted. Being arranged by the lab, she regularly heard the specialists and picture takers talking while they worked. One evening, she caught 2 photograph lab specialists examining the Apollo 11 moon arriving of 1969. I could hear each word they said, claims Cindy. It was just when I heard one of them say I can't accept everybody on the planet succumbed to it. Definitely everybody can see it was all phony, one major deception that my ears pricked up. Despite the shameful idea of this disclosure, Vocation disapproved of Cindy, 28 at the time, charmed in her work and not needing endanger her activity at all, chose to forget about it. I don't know whether they knew I could hear them, on the off chance that they needed me to hear them. However, they were being striking about it. I thought they were insane and passed it over. It was just substantially later, in 2009, that the story sprang to Cindy's mind yet again. I began to end up plainly mindful of what was happening on the planet and started to investigate different tricks. Everything began to become all good. The principal individual she specified it to was her eldest child Brandon, at that point 18. Brandon had just worked out for himself that the moon arrivals were phony, so I chose to educate him regarding what I'd heard at NASA. He wasn't astonished. Now 47, a mom of 4 and living in Phoenix, Arizona, Cindy has as of late turned out to be required with the Flat Earth movement. Through this, she has found that kindred individuals trust that the Apollo 11 moon landing never happened and that quite a bit of what happens around NASA is phony. I woke up in 2009 and I found out about all the phony stuff the US government had done and were doing. Around that time, I recollected an architect at Lockheed Martin, where I worked after I exited NASA, revealing to me the Earth was level. I didn't take it genuinely at the time, it was not on my radar. In May of 2016, Cindy saw a YouTube video about the Earth being level. I was exceptionally astonished, she guarantees. I was interested and begun my excursion. For no less than 2 weeks, I was in a stupor, exploring the subject overburdening my mind with data. Cindy reviewed the photograph lab engineers at NASA snickering about how individuals had faith in the moon arrivals, and that is the point at which she understood reality. Those experts, similar to the Lockheed design before them, knew the genuine state of the Earth. As Cindy says, they needed to know whether they worked in the photograph lab. The pilots would bring picture takers and take photographs. They probably observed a huge amount of confirmation. After further research, Cindy has concluded that it's a great opportunity to tell the world. I needed to stand up, she says. It's too enormous a reality to withhold. I was perplexed at first, stressed over the repercussions, so didn't address anybody about it for a considerable length of time. Be that as it may, now I couldn't care less who I lose or angry with sharing this fact. We are on the whole level earthers, a few people simply don't know yet.